Welcome everyone to the Asher Marketing Podcast. We provide a wide range of services, including media planning, video production, creative solutions, digital and social media strategies, website development, public relations, and printing. To find out more, visit asheragency.com.
My guest is Bill Khorshid. Bill, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. So it's nice to meet you. I was mentioning this before we hit record that about half of our guests are people I know, but you and I have never met in the real world. Is that
First
correct?
First time.
Well, this is great. I've heard a lot of good things about you, and you've got a lot of different stories to tell. So I want to start kind of at the beginning. You grew up in Fort Wayne, and you've become an entrepreneur, and you've got a lot of different interests. But tell me, when you were first thinking about careers, what were you thinking about? What was on your mind in terms of what you might want to do?
You know, that's a great question. And I think about it often because how did I get to where I am today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started, and my dad did this for me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you're going to come work for me.
Yep.
You're going to mop floors. You're going to clean machines.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do all these like tasks, right?
Yep.
Paint floors, whatever it is. And during it, I'm like, man, this really isn't great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but I realized during that is like, he's doing this so that I know that I won't want to do this.
Yeah.
I need to work hard and make something of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And your dad was an entrepreneur. And am I correct that he's a first generation U.S. citizen?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think that that's sometimes, you know, as a parent, you have this tension between giving your kids not enough, giving them too much. But I always say, only half jokingly, the best thing my parents ever gave me was nothing, because it makes you appreciate what you have. Right. It sounds like that's true for you too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you see like my dad, he was working hard every day, running multiple companies. He started with one and was 2. Now it's 9.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. And I saw that all happening while I was at college.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Purdue.
Yep. And what did you study at Purdue?
It was called Organizational Leadership and Supervision.
Okay.
Now it's called Industrial Technology. But I realized that I wanted to be a part of that somehow.
Yeah.
But during school, it was different because everyone around me is going into some office job, you know, financials, you know, they got the cool offices and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
And so I would interview with, you know, people in Chicago and all this stuff. And then my senior year, I was like, what am I doing? Like I could go into something. I'm really good at solution-driven, you know, thoughts and things like that. So why not utilize that? And so I had that aha moment my senior year, and I was like, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And I worked through the companies throughout college as sales, different things like that.
Yeah.
You know, just wasn't sure. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I got to come back and do this thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a challenge a lot of young people run into is everybody talks about the corner office and the big name and these, you know, global companies. And that's great if that's what you want. You know, I found personally that small business is where I belong. I like to be able to connect the dots. I worked for some large companies, and I would either start something, be in the middle, or finish something, but never all three. And at a small business, you get to see that progression and be involved.
100%, man.
Yeah.
You are a part of all of it. You're a part of what somebody's doing down on the floor for us.
Yep.
Or you're a part of what management's going on, bigger picture.
Yeah.
But you're totally operational.
Yeah. And you have access to the rest of the company. So tell me about working in a family business. That's got to be a little bit of a mixed bag, maybe? Is it mostly good, or are there challenges?
Honestly, I do get that question a lot, but the thing is like, we're so tight as a family. I have my 2 brothers, my sister, my dad, and my brother-in-law is now working with the company, and we meet once a month. We also find solutions together. So we're texting and we're like, hey, this new customer needs this and all those things. And like, we're at our separate locations and everything, and we're all still working together. It's actually pretty amazing.
Well, that's great. And you probably know each other pretty well. So you know strengths, you know some of the challenges and where you're going to collaborate.
Right.
Especially well, and where you might have to draw on your own strengths.
Yeah.
So to put things into context for folks, tell me a little bit about corporate holdings and then Braylon Laser as a part of that.
Absolutely. So graduated from Purdue, and I went to our plastics division.
Yep.
and I helped with their operations there. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, went to the wire harness, which is up in Angola.
Yep.
And they build these medical harnesses you've never seen. I mean, they're the size of this room.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you got people like doing these harnesses on a board, and it's truly like a map, like almost like a brain map.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so from there, I went to, now I'm at Braylon Laser.
Yep.
So, metals, metal fabrication, welding, all that. But as a whole, man, like, so we have the plastics division, we have the metal, we have tool and die, automation. It's huge now with the world we're in.
Yeah, for sure. How many employees at Braylon Laser?
So at Braylon Laser, we have about 25. Corporate holdings, or about 800.
Okay. So for the 25 at Braylon Laser, how are you trying to lead that organization? What, for want of a better term, what's your leadership philosophy? What do you hope to instill in the people who are working for the company?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think about it often, and I want the people to that are working to be happy.
Yeah.
And there's been times where like 1 or 2 eggs are bad, and it just disrupts the whole operation.
Yeah.
And so part of what I'm trying to do is instill that like positivity.
Yep.
And come in and, good mood, all these different things, because they need to see that from leadership.
Yeah.
And then they start seeing it from each other.
Yeah. 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 It's like, not only does the leader set the tone, but that kind of goes viral throughout the organization. Well, you and I were talking earlier about sort of Asher's origins, and one of the brothers who helped start the business, Tom Borney, with his brother Tim, I always used to say that I know Tom had bad days, but I never saw it, because he was smart enough, I think, to know that if he was having a bad day, everybody at Asher would think somehow it was their fault, that he was upset with them or they didn't do something right. So he would kind of mask that. I don't know where he vented, but he didn't vent in front of the team that was working with him, which I think is a pretty rare thing.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good.
Yeah.
I mean, in the long run too, because then you're going down this rabbit hole, right? It's like efficiencies are down. For us, we're huge in efficiencies.
Yep.
If we're not hitting those, we're not making money.
Yep. Yep. So tell me a little bit. I was going to tell you to talk to me like I'm 4, but I'm ignorant, so you can talk to me like I'm 55. Tell me a little bit about what Braylon Laser does and what's your role in all that.
Right. So normal day, I'm coming in, I'm looking at the main things, how much backlog we have and what kind of sales we can do and all this stuff like that, right? We don't have a salesman or anything like that, so I'm out, with customers. I'm out doing those.
And who
type
are you
of things
selling
too.
to?
So we do a lot of RV industry.
Yep.
What's big right now is conveyor parts. So we're making automotive conveyor parts, right? So we ship this small little metal pieces, and then somebody's assembling the whole conveyor.
Okay. Right.
But what's neat about our industry too is you can throw a rock and find a fab shop. So what we're trying to make different is our efficiencies I was talking about. We are trying to find ways to be faster, quality better, better people, customer service, and we actually just bought a fiber laser. So it's kind of like the internet. It's like you go from dial up or whatever to now it's fiber optics. And same with lasers. We went from an oxygen machine with a bunch of mirrors trying to get that laser to hit the steel correctly, now to one fiber optic, boom. And it is fast. So we went from going from a 50-hour job cutting it to like 5 hours cutting it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So technology's huge,
So, your operation being here in this part of the world, super competitive for the best employees, where, a lot of times people change jobs for a minimal increase in pay or an increase in benefits. How are you recruiting folks and how are you keeping them? Yeah,
it is hard. It really is. And everyone always has that, question of where you're getting people. What are you doing differently? And I lean on the leaders in our business. I said, if you're, again, coming in positively, those people are going to stay. And then the other thing I've found is there's organizations in this town and all other towns and everything that you can lean on as well. They have people that want to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not mentioning, temp services and like that.
Sure.
I'm thinking more like there's organizations like faith-based that they need jobs. They need help. They need that second chance.
Yeah.
And I've found a lot of help with that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So in terms of the marketing problems you're trying to solve, because it's a small enough business where you're wearing multiple hats. You talked about the sales end of it. You've got a really complex, at least it's complex to me, a complex product. You've got a really niche audience you're trying to sell to. How are you telling your story as an organization?
So, I mentioned too, is like before the show to you is I do the marketing.
Yeah.
I do it all. And the biggest thing to me is I want to make manufacturing cool. I mentioned in my story, it's like, I didn't think it was at first, but it was because of the reputation. It's dirty. It's not the sexiest job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
anyone can do it. That's the perception.
Right. Right. And so what I like to promote is the cool stuff that we are doing.
Yeah.
People don't see a laser run every day. So you show them that.
Yeah.
People don't see this weldment going to Caterpillar or some big company.
Yeah.
And then if you transition it to go to that, it shows itself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and when people have the opportunity to actually see it in action, that's where they get an appreciation for it and can see themselves in that role. So let's pivot a little bit. Tell me about A to B.
Yeah.
How you're trying to solve that problem with young people.
Yeah. So I went to my somebody did a film for me and. At Braille Laser, and it was so cool. I was like, man, that was really great.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, I realized that he's like won Emmys and all this stuff. His name's George, and I go, George, why don't we start like a how it's made?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to watch How It's Made when I was a kid and stuff on streaming services and everything. And I was like, let's figure this out to kind of full circle it. So let's get the youth involved. And he goes, well, actually, my son's an actor. So George's son is going to be acting in it.
Yeah, and how old is he?
He's probably 12.
So he's kind of the host of the show, right?
Yes,
Which
yes.
is amazing because, it struck me that if it was someone my age or even your age, no disrespect, but kids are going to say like, that person's from a different planet. But someone who's in their peer group, much better chance they're going to listen to them.
Exactly. And I have kids, 5, 3, and 1. And I'm like, what would they be interested in? They watch some of these streaming services like Blippi or Miss Rachel or whatever it is. I'm like, all right, let's make a manufacturing one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to people like boat manufacturers, candy makers.
Yeah.
I was talking to maybe like Master Spa or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool things that are happening. And then what's going to happen is we're going to show off that design to build.
Yeah.
So that A to B.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And what we're going to do too is we're going to bring cameos in of famous people.
Yeah.
Say like a FaceTime or something like that. The young actor is going to.
Oh, that's cool.
His name's Owen. So Owen's going to call him and be like, hey, I'm here at this manufacturing facility. Do you know how it's made?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I have no idea.
Wow.
So
that's cool. That's great.
Fun.
Well, and that whole familiarity, one of the reasons why sometimes professions get this cool factor is because they're in the media, right? I remember when I was a kid, there were a lot of lawyer shows on TV, and all of a sudden being a lawyer was this cool thing.
Right.
Talk to most lawyers and they'll tell you, that the truth is a little different. But, and today with media being fragmented and kids consuming, wildly different things than we consumed as kids, or at least having the opportunity to, it's a way to get their attention, get them thinking about it, and to compete. Because a lot of times, people who end up in manufacturing careers, they never really thought about it, but an opportunity came their way and they love it and they do it well and they earn a great living, but it didn't have a fighting chance when they were 18 because they knew nothing about it.
Man, I think about this often with marketing in general. How can you make it work for whoever it may be?
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, how do you appeal to people that don't know anything about manufacturing?
Yeah.
And with it being said, it's like all of our whole lives now, with the age we're in, is public, and everyone's looking for a video that resonates. And now it's come to business. You have to promote yourself
for sure,
and your business, or you're not going to grow
for sure
at all.
We're hitting pause for just a moment to talk about something that can transform your online presence: Asher Agency and their exceptional website services. In today's digital world, your website is often the first impression potential customers have of your business. Is yours making the right impact? At Asher, we specialize in creating stunning, custom, user-friendly websites that not only look great, but also drive results. Visit AsherAgency.com for more info.
For sure. And you have to sort of trust that if you make your message for a specific audience, you have to trust that the right audience is going to find you. If you try to make it for everyone, it's not going to work, because one size fits all fits no one in 2025. But if you say, hey, listen, this is authentically what we're about. This is what we do. We know it's not for everyone, but we're going to be really transparent and focus on this audience. They'll find you because their peers will latch onto it and they'll share it peer to peer. And that's where the good stuff happens.
Yeah, man, that's huge, because I think about it often. It's like, some people are not going to like what you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Even as a person.
For sure.
You know, like they're going to disagree.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? You got to keep pushing it, because or else nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're just going to stay still.
Oh, for sure. So I really admire that you're reaching out to kids in that way, because I think kids need that. They need to know that there's 1,000 good choices, right? They have different options. And there are going to be kids who are more mechanically inclined, kids who are going to want to work with their hands and their minds and, make something that's tangible. I was an English major. I don't think I've ever made a tangible thing in my life.
Right.
But, when you have people with that aptitude, showing them a path where they can have a great career, I think is the earlier you start, the more likely it is that's going to latch on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So you do a lot of different things. You've got Braille and Laser. You've got the work you do for corporate holdings as a holding company, if you will. You've got A2B. You also are on the other side of the mic, so to speak, as podcast host. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Between Three Rivers.
Yeah. So Between Three Rivers I've always wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them, you're like, hey, I like the conversation that you can have with someone you just meet. We're on a podcast together. It's great.
Yeah.
And I love talking to people that are leaders, learning from them.
Yeah.
So I said, I was talking to Dan Copeland about it.
Yeah.
He was our co-host.
And how did you get connected with Dan?
I actually worked out with him at Absolute Results.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When I was younger.
Yeah.
And then, he had Business Fuel magazine and everything.
Yeah.
And I saw him at Meyer, and I go, Dan, we're going to start a podcast. And he's like, what is a podcast? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so
it's almost anticlimactic when people find out what a podcast is.
I know.
It's an audio blog.
Yeah.
It's two people talking.
Right.
So, yeah.
But it just all fell into place. I called up Sweetwater, and I was like, because I don't know anything about podcasts.
Yeah.
And then my brother-in-law had done some, and I said, let's go to Sweetwater. Let's produce a show. Let's try it.
Yeah.
And now we're, a year and a half in, and we've had a lot of great community leaders in there.
Yeah, you've done really well. You've got some guests I envy. You had Chuck Surak on.
Yeah.
I reached out to Chuck's people, and they were like, no, he doesn't have time for that. And then I'm like, wait a minute, he was just on another podcast.
maybe we ruined it for him.
Maybe so. I'll blame you. How's that?
Yeah. But no, it's been a lot of fun. I'm like you. I think it's just like I want to stay active. Mm-hmm. I want to keep my mind going.
Yeah, I don't do well with too much downtime.
No. I feel like I spiral a little bit, and you gotta. I don't want to pull myself back out of there.
Yeah. So what's your goal with the podcast? What are you trying to do?
I feel like there is no real goal.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like with a lot of things. Things may work out. Mm-hmm. Or if not, it's a great experience, right?
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, it's been fun. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've kind of come back out of my shell. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was a social person, and then I kind of got not so social. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like trying to work my way back into it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and it's I think you and I are alike in that one of the core beliefs I had coming into this is that almost literally everybody, and I would say everyone, has a great story to tell if you give them the opportunity to do it. And, we've had a real wide breadth of folks on the podcast over 5 years, and it's just great to kind of hear people's story. There's way more going on than you see on the surface, and sometimes in these conversations, some of that comes out, and it's really cool when it does.
Yeah, and we talked about it. It's like you see what you see on your phone.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? You don't see the other side.
Yeah.
A lot of the times.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like these conversations, you can get that out a little bit.
Yeah, at least a little bit. And again, you never want to, impose on people's privacy, but if people share it and they want to share it, it's great. I think it's especially important to, for young people to hear stories like yours where you tried some things before you really landed in the place that worked for you. I think that's true for most people.
Yeah, I mentioned in school and everything, we went through those core classes, right? And you're like, man, I was not a good student.
Yeah.
I mean, I never got into trouble, but I was like never the highest grades or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of worked my way through it. I mean, I had to actually even hire a tutor for math because I was like, I cannot figure this out.
Yeah.
But it also comes down to like, you're at a university, you're by yourself, you're in these big lectures, and you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I remember going into testing and I'll be like, there's 500 people in this room.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to figure this out?
Yeah.
And it was the same with like SATs, ACTs.
Yeah.
You're just in this big room.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, just put some earbuds in, you'll be fine. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
And but it leads you, those experiences lead you to know your strengths and weaknesses. You can work on your weaknesses, but highlight those strengths.
Yeah.
What are you good at?
Well, it allows you to figure that out, right?
Right.
I mean, it took me longer than most to. I only have like 3 skills, and what school did is it helped me figure out what those were. Because I really, there's a lot of places where I'm completely useless, but through trial and error, mostly error, figured it out. And if not for school, I would have never gotten there, I don't think.
Yeah.
So,
and for those instances that you find those weaknesses, you're like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Well, and it's, a great example is this very podcast. You and I talked about this too before we record. I'm useless on the audio tech side, completely useless. But, you find a partner like podcast producer Nick Lay, and he's going to cover those gaps. And, it's when you find someone who has skills that complement yours, it's great. It's probably true, in your business. While you do a lot of things, you can't do everything. No. So you find team members who can fill those gaps and complement your skills.
I tell people, if you want to go on vacation, you better trust the people that are there working. Yeah. I mean, if not, they're going to be calling you the whole vacation.
Yeah.
So build around that.
Yeah.
Be like, every day you go in there, you want them to succeed. You want them to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Because then when you do have to take leave or anything like that, the business is still running.
100%. It's one of the great humbling moments of my life, and I have a lot of them. When I go on vacation, I'm like, Asher's going to be fine. If I get hit by a bus, this place is going to just keep going because I'm kind of incidental at this point.
Right.
It's a nice feeling. It's a little bit scary, but it's like, no, I really have great team members who cover me every day, and they have me covered when I can't be there.
But you work towards that.
100%.
You don't micromanage. You don't do their job for them. You let them figure it out.
100%.
Just like we did. We're talking about it in school or whatever. You figure it out through errors.
Yeah.
You make them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been instances where they make errors. People make errors, and I get a call and I'm like, well, why'd you guys do this way? And I'm like, look, we're learning.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out together.
Yeah. I mean, if you're honest with yourself in 2025, a lot of things are an experiment, right? You want to have processes you repeat and they're going to be successful and you can predict the outcome. But if you're really pushing yourself, you're going to try new things probably every day. And some of it's not going to work, right? So the key thing is to say, what can I learn from that? And it's one of the things I value most about the time I've been at Asher. This is a place that tolerates mistakes pretty well. Don't make the same mistake like 4 times in a row.
Right.
But if you make a mistake, it's kind of like, okay, great, you tried something. What we learned from that? How do we make it better? And I think the world needs more of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And especially in this world of AI, where you can have the answers at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You almost got to be careful.
You do. Well, it can erode the muscle of thinking for yourself and thinking creatively.
Yep.
I think you can have it both ways, but certainly if you rely on that as a sort of all-encompassing solution, you're going to lose some skills.
And I make that point too, because if you're taking the mistakes out with AI, you're not making those mistakes because you're going to fault to just ChatGPT or something like that.
Yeah.
And instead, maybe think for yourself first, and then go that route.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see if that your answer maybe works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really well said. And, something that's going to become more important. It's important now, but it's going to become only more important. So in addition, you get the podcast, you have Braylon Laser, you have corporate holdings, you have A to B. You're also a dad to 3 young kids, and fitness is pretty important to you. How do you balance all that? How do you prioritize, as someone who has, I don't have the youth that you have, but I have the same motor. It's just running slower these days. How do you prioritize and make sure that you're attentive to the right thing at the right time? I
love the balance question. It is my favorite question to ask people to anything, because everyone's answer is going to be different. And when it comes to balancing, I don't have it figured out at all.
Yeah.
I will say that. I'll be honest. But what I do try to do is make sure that my family is at the front of my mind all the time. Now I'm bringing faith into it. I've always had faith, but I want to bring it back into that as well. And it brings peace, I feel like. So the other part of it is like purpose. What is your purpose? And I wanted to bring this up because I had the opportunity to be on figuring out a trust, a foundation, a legacy. And I'm sitting there in the meeting and I'm like, and they're asking these questions like, what do you want the trust to go to? What do you want all the money to go to? All this stuff. And they had to be honest. They had to be like, well, I like to help people. I like to help the youth. I help to, maybe it's a faith thing. Maybe it's this, that, all these different things. It's asking those personal questions.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone has to ask themselves that. What are your pillars?
Yeah.
And for me, my pillars are always going to be family, faith, community, and health.
Yeah.
And you bring up fitness and everything like that. I'm big into this, like right now, is like making sure that I'm healthy for my kids, when I'm older and everything like that.
Well, you focus specifically, if I've got this right, and correct me if I don't, but helping other dads prioritize health so that they can be the best version of themselves at work, at home, and other places.
Yeah, and that's a good one. So it's called Fit Dad Community, right?
Yeah.
And my friend, Carl, came up to me. We were talking about business and everything. We were just getting coffee. And all of a sudden, he's like, well, I'm trying this Fit Dad apparel thing where he's trying to sell clothes and everything. I was like, man, we should totally take this and turn it into a community where you're helping other dads and make a community out of it. And then we can, you can sell clothes after that. So really, it's his thing, and I'm just trying to help, facilitate wherever I can, just push it, because it is like, at being a dad, that you're balanced, you got to balance work and family and everything like that. So, and no one knows the real answer.
Yeah.
But if you can pull a little bit from each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you can come up with a good enough answer.
Well, and some of it, this is a cliche, but it happens to be true, is you're going to draw on the energy of the people you spend the most time with, right? And if you surround yourself with people who are kind of like-minded, who prioritize and figure out a way to make fitness and health a priority, despite all the other things, that takes away some excuses.
Yes.
Right?
I love getting circles together of people that are like-minded, almost like a cohort.
Yeah.
And also you can text them.
Yeah.
And those type of people, they text you right back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they know that you were thinking the same way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And sometimes it's just, I think most people have good answers for themselves. Sometimes they just need to verbalize it or put it in text form, but just get it out there, bounce it off someone else. Doesn't change where they're going, but it validates that maybe that's the right direction.
And it makes you realize that someone is also thinking about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
If you text somebody like me or something like that, he's like, oh man, this guy's actually thinking about me and cares.
And guys don't do that well.
No.
We really don't. I mean, I'm really fortunate that I've got a good group of friends who, we talk about real stuff. It's not just work. It's not just the weather. It's not just sports. We talk about we talk about completely inane stuff too, but we can ask each other real questions. And I think that's becoming kind of rare.
Right.
So good for you at your age that you notice that's important. And I would encourage you to hang on to that with both hands as you get a little older, because it gets harder.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I'm going to pivot to a few quick hit questions. These don't have to lead to quick hit answers, and sometimes I get in the way of that. So these are more to kind of sum up some of the things we've talked about. So the first thing I want to hear from you is your best advice when it comes to career success. If you were talking to someone, maybe it's one of your kids a few years from now, maybe it's someone, a younger employee you're working with. If they asked you, how do you have a successful, fulfilling career, what would you say is the key to that?
So that question could probably change as years go on. Mm-hmm. But right now, I would say don't take the most popular opinion. Mm-hmm. Find what's good for you. Mm-hmm. And try to run with that. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that in your own experience? Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, I feel like for I don't know if I have an experience, but there are times where I won't do something because I'll think that maybe somebody might think that that's not the right decision.
Yeah.
And I think that if you really trust yourself, trust your gut, mm-hmm. You're right. You're making the right decision.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes the right decision is something no one would have thought of in the first place, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're the genius.
Yeah.
Because you're like, no one thought of that.
Yeah. All right. Second quick hit question. What's something in your professional life, could even be your personal life, but something that is a myth or misconception that people get wrong about the work you do? It could be about manufacturing. It could be about your business specifically. Something people get wrong that you want to debunk.
And it's 100% manufacturing right now. Mm-hmm. I have friends that call me and like, what is manufacturing like? I just had a conversation with one of my fraternity brothers. He said, I'm thinking about making a switch into manufacturing. And I tell him a story of what it is, what a day like is. And he's like, wow, I could be good at that. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think people need to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Come to my shop. Mm-hmm. Find a buddy that has a manufacturing, go to it, experience it.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a mystery if you don't have that opportunity, but once you see it, I think you get it. And certainly as a career path, but also just an appreciation for it.
For sure.
Okay. Last quick hit question. I'm trying to think if I can throw you a curveball, but I'll keep to the script. Last quick hit question. What's something that you use, could be a digital tool, could be an analog tool, that helps you just get stuff done? Something you use, could be a marketing tool, doesn't have to be, that's important to you and you think deserves a shout out.
I'll tell you what, I read that question.
Yeah.
And I brought it because,
oh, wow. Okay.
and I'm going to give it to you.
All right, awesome.
It's called the T-sheet.
Okay.
And so I created this and I used Canva for it.
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
sure people use and so what it is, we talked about balance. Mm-hmm. I think about the question often. Mm-hmm. And I remember accounting 101. You have to balance your debits and your credits.
Yep.
And so I did that with life. Mm-hmm. I have one side of the T-sheets, family and home. Mm-hmm. The other side is work. Mm-hmm. If one's out of balance, if you have a ton of family and zero work, something's out of balance. Mm-hmm. So what I've done is I make lists every week.
Yep.
And I check them off. Mm-hmm. It's a check sheet. Mm-hmm.
And the lists vary from week to week.
Week to week.
Yeah. Okay.
And you put a date on there. And my saying is, what can you debit with your time today that you can give yourself credit for tomorrow?
That's pretty great.
Yeah. So that's for you, man. And
awesome.
It's protect your assets because it's a counting T-sheet. But
yeah. All right. Well, if you don't watch your assets, you might lose your assets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Well, that's a great note to end on. Bill, this has been super fun. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing it. And thanks for everyone who took the opportunity to listen to this episode of the Asher Marketing Podcast. We'll be back next time with another great guest, and we hope you'll join us then.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
We'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to reach out to us at hello@asheragency.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us reach more listeners. For additional resources and updates, visit our website at asheragency.com. Thanks for tuning in.